Hey everybody, it's Angie and welcome to Hot and Flashy. In today's video, I wanted to talk a little bit more about how I stay slim and keep the old menopausal belly fat away. I do one of these videos about once a year is all, where I talk to you guys about my diet and exercise routine, how I've managed to stay slim post-menopause. And I wanted to do more over the past year, and somehow the year got away from me, and here it is, almost the end of the year, and I didn't do the follow-up that I meant to do from the video I put up in January. So if you missed that one, I will link it for you up above so you can check that one out. In that one, I went into a lot of the reasons that you might be having a hard time losing weight or maintaining the weight that you always maintained before menopause. And there are actual physiological reasons for this. There are a lot of changes that happen in our bodies as we approach menopause and go through menopause, and it all creates this perfect storm of conditions where your body just packs on weight, especially in the middle, and women tend to not like that because, you know, you want the body that you had, but it can be done. I mean, you can have a younger, more youthful looking, healthier, more toned, more fit, less belly fat body than maybe you think you can by making some changes to your diet and your exercise routine, or starting a diet or exercise routine. So in this follow-up to that video, I wanted to do it a little bit more of a vlog style video where I take you with me to do my workout and I show you what I do exactly, and I wanted to do a little cooking in this video. There was a recipe in particular in that last video that so many of you were interested in. I said it would be on my blog. I didn't put it there. I'm going to put it there this week, but we're going to make it here today so you'll see how to make it. It's for a fast food thing that you can make healthier at home and that I absolutely love. It's the Taco Bell Crunchwrap Supreme. In addition, I also wanted to talk to some of the people who left comments below that video saying that they felt like at 55 or 60 or whatever age they were, that it was too late for them to start. And I was so bummed hearing that because I never want to make it seem like this is something that won't help you if you start it later in life. I mean, anything that you do now and start will be for the good long term. So the reason I started so young is because I have hereditary high cholesterol, and so I didn't want to have to go on the high cholesterol meds, and I didn't want to have a heart attack when I was like 60 or 65. I saw my dad have 2 of them, and that's where I get my high cholesterol from. And it's scary seeing someone so young. I think he was only in his 60s when he had his first one. And I thought, when I'm in my 60s, do I want to have my first heart attack? I absolutely don't. Fear is a big motivator, and heart disease is the #1 killer of women. It kills far more women every year than all the cancers combined, and it's something that you can really affect your likelihood to have one with diet and exercise. So, you know, if you're on the fence about starting to do something and you're like, it's just not fun, I'm just not going to stick with it, it seems so hard. You know, think about your life and how young you are now. Like at 60, I still feel like a very young person. I still feel like there is so much life ahead of me. So I just want to say that if you've been not eating great, never exercising, that it's not too late to start. It may be hard to start, it may be hard to make it a habit, but if you do, it'll be one of the best things that you ever did for yourself. My best advice if you're trying to start something is to start small. Just pick one little thing that you think that you can do today that is going to make a change to your health and your diet. What I ate in a day 10 years ago is not the same as what I eat in a day today. I have made incremental, gradual changes over the years. The more I learn about things, the more it inspires me to make another little change. So if you want to start by making some dietary changes, I think some easy ones to make are to reduce the sugars in your diet. So one really great way to cut out a lot of the sugars is to stop drinking like a diet soda if you're still drinking diet sodas. Those guys are really, really bad for you. All that extra sugar just turns into bad cholesterol, goes to the hips, goes to the stomach. It's so much better for you to just drink water. So if you can make that little change, that's one thing that you can do. Another thing that you can do is cut out some saturated fats, whether it's swapping olive oil for butter or swapping ground turkey in any place that you would use ground beef. That's what I'm going to show you in the recipe today. Those are two little changes that you can start making today to help yourself be healthier as you age. And the other thing is to be kind to yourself and be patient. It's really important to give yourself the time and the space to make this kind of an adjustment, because it really is a mental change that you need to make. You need to stop sabotaging yourself and saying, I can't do this, it's not going to work for me. That instantly gives you a reason not to do it. But if you don't try, you are definitely guaranteed to fail. Whereas if you try, then you at least gave yourself a 50-50 shot. We all have those negative messages that our brain sends us. It says, I'm too tired, I don't feel like working out today, just, put it off for another day. Or, ooh, I worked out a little bit, does that mean I get to reward myself and have an extra glass of wine or an extra dessert? It really doesn't. The thing is that you need to start small, but be consistent. It's really important to be consistent with whatever you're doing, because the longer you stick with it over time, the more that you'll see the results. Once you start seeing results is when that'll be the moment that you decide to stick with it. And that little sabotage person in your brain that tells you it's not worth it, you're not going to get anything out of it, the second you start seeing a change and you start seeing that you're getting something out of it is when that little person will start zipping it. And you need to control that person, the little devil on your shoulder who, whispers in your ear and tells you, what's one big hamburger with melted cheese and bacon and a fried egg on top? Who's that going to hurt? Well, it's going to hurt you. So my little devil on my shoulder always tells me that I'm too tired and I don't have the time to do my workout. And so what I've started doing is I've started shortening my workouts so that I can make them a little bit more bite-sized and manage them into my day. As I said a couple minutes ago, my high cholesterol is number one for me with my fitness routine. So I need to get aerobic exercise into my fitness routine. But I don't need to do, an hour every single day to keep my heart healthy. So I've adjusted my exercise routine over the last couple of years. So just as an amusing side note, I wanted to show you my stack of body braces that I have for all my different aches and pains. Over the years, I have had wrist pain, so I have these little wrist guards that I used to wear. They have like the metal in there. I used to wear them to work out. I have some knee clicking and some knee pain, so I have a couple of different types of knee braces that I use when I ride my bike. When I was doing the Peloton workouts and there was a lot of jumping and burpees and it would affect my back, I got a back brace so that I could do the workouts. And I also wear this when I vacuum the house. Anything where I'm kind of leaning forward and putting strain on my back, I wear this and it's been great. I have been working towards, with my workouts, strengthening up my back muscles so that I don't have as much back pain, and that has helped a ton. So when I'm riding my bike, I take an extra long warm-up. So I find in the Peloton, their warm-ups tend to be anywhere from 1 minute to 5 minutes, and they start pedaling really, really fast. I'm not 20. I'm not 30. My joints need a little bit of time to get warm and get used to the idea. So I've ended up doubling my warm-up, and I'll just pedal at a nice, slow, steady pace. So my general rides are like half an hour. If they are cranking their resistance up really high, sometimes I can't maintain that because doing that really hard pedaling hurts my knees. And so I'll just keep mine a little bit lower. The goal is for me to just keep pedaling through it and to get more the time and to keep my heart rate up. I check my heart rate on my watch a lot. I got myself an Apple Watch over the summer, and I love this because the screen that I keep on here has a heart rate monitor right on it. So all I have to do is tap the heart rate monitor and it'll immediately start measuring my heart rate at the moment. And then when I get off the bike, I also have to do a lot more stretching. So, as you get older and your joints and your muscles tighten up, it's important to keep them a little bit looser. So stretching afterwards is important. And so then I'll usually do either a 10-minute yoga or a 10-minute Pilates or something where I'm doing floor work and stretching all in one. And then I go into doing my weights. Sometimes I do my weights on the bike, but sometimes I want to lift heavier because lifting heavy weights is really, really good, especially for women. It's really good for your bone health. Your bone health is directly correlated to your muscle muscle health. So here's another reason to go ahead and start exercising. If you don't need the cardio as much as me, maybe you don't need to do that. Maybe you just need to start lifting weights, and that's fine too. Maybe you don't like lifting weights. You can start doing Pilates. If you're not someone who can work out from home, then definitely like join a gym or get a personal trainer if you can afford it, or find a group that wants to go do something with you. Even doing 20 minutes 3 times a week is going to be better than doing nothing. So when you're trying to make the changes to your diet, it's not always easy to try to cut out things that you really love. So for example, I used to love mayonnaise. Oh my gosh, I would eat mayonnaise slathered on white bread. I mean, who doesn't love French fries? I love French fries. When I got my first high cholesterol reading, I realized that I wasn't going to be able to continue eating that way and maintain my heart health. And so I had to make a decision. Did I want to have a heart attack at 60, or did I want to start now to bring my cholesterol down, learn a different way of eating, and do myself a favor so that I could be the healthiest me that I could be, live the longest life that I could possibly live? I opted for the latter. So it's your choice, obviously. You can decide what you want to give up and what you want to keep and what your priorities are health-wise. But if you're here, maybe you came here just because you want to lose weight and it has nothing to do with health. Well, you're not going to lose weight by eating all the French fries, all the cheeseburgers, covered with bacon, all the mayonnaise. There are things that you're going to have to, if not completely jettison, then partially jettison from your diet. Unfortunately, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but what I did learn from my previous video is that a ton of people find benefit from intermittent fasting, or from doing a diet like keto or Mediterranean diet or something like that. A lot of people wrote in and said, oh, you're practically doing keto. And I'm like, no, I don't think so, because I'm not. I like my starches too much, but I try to do them in a whole grain version, so I'm getting more fiber in my diet. So I don't do white rice anymore. I've swapped it for whole grain brown rice. I don't do white bread anymore. I've swapped it for wheat bread, but a bread that has a ton of different nuts and seeds in it. Let me show you the bread, Dave's Killer Bread, right? This is his good seed bread. It's loaded with seeds, 3 grams of protein, 3 grams of fiber, 13 grams of whole grains. You can start by swapping out your bread. That's a simple swap you can do, and this is so yummy. I love it. I don't eat a sandwich anymore. I just eat a slice of this toast. I smear a little hummus on top instead of that mayonnaise, and it gives me that same satisfied feeling that I used to get from my white bread and mayonnaise, although that probably didn't stick with me for longer than half an hour that it took to burn off all the sugar in it. But this stays with me longer because it is full of fiber. You know, it keeps me fuller longer, so I'm not as hungry, so I eat less. You don't have to do exactly what I do in these videos. I just show you what I do that works for me. I'm not here to tell you exactly how to do it. I am really just here to encourage you to do something. So if doing something like intermittent fasting or trying keto is going to work for you, then absolutely give that a try. And I think this is a part of it where people get stuck, is that there's so much noise out there of what's the right way to do it. And the truth is that everybody's body is different. Everybody's mind is different. And so in order to get your body and your mind together to work on a program, you might need to do it differently from anyone else, or you might need to do something different from me, which is fine. You can do intermittent fasting if you like. It's not the kind of thing that I would ever do because I wake up starving in the morning, so I gotta have my breakfast right away. I believe if my body is hungry that I should feed it, but I should give it healthy things to eat. For me, it was more important to just make these lifestyle changes that I could maintain over the long haul, and doing it the way I've done it, where, you know, I didn't jettison everything all at once. I decided, okay, I'm going to get rid of the mayonnaise, I'm not going to eat French fries, and I'm going to try to get rid of most fried food. Like, that was my baby step into it, was just don't eat fried food. I am doing more of a like traditional heart healthy diet, the kind of thing that you would see on the American Heart Association. Now, there's lots of info out there today that disagrees with that completely and says that you should eat all the fat you can get. For me, I don't think that would work. I don't feel like I would feel healthy, but I've seen people who lose weight on that, but it's because their body is not my body. My body processes saturated fats into cholesterol, raises my cholesterol, and it's not good for me. So that's what works for me. Something completely different may work for you. All right, so I didn't want to just talk at you in this one. I want to show you one of my recipes. We're going to make the Crunchwrap Supreme that was so requested last time. I am so hungry for it. So I'm going to turn the camera around and let's start cooking those bad boys up. All right, so here's everything we're going to need to make the Crunchwrap Supreme. I'm going to use ground turkey instead of ground beef. I'm going to use yogurt instead of sour cream. I'm going to use baby kale instead of lettuce just because it's a personal preference thing. I don't like when lettuce gets soggy, but I don't mind when kale gets warmed and cooked. Tomato, onion, spices, our own spice mix, so we're eliminating a lot of the sodium and added ingredients that we don't need. We need a couple of different types of tortillas. Instead of cheese, I use a mixture of white beans, nutritional yeast, and that makes a nice cheesy binding sauce. Of course, I'll have this all written out in a recipe that's over on my blog, and I'll link my blog in the info box below the video. First thing we need to do is make our taco filling meat. So I'm going to do that in the skillet here. Let me put on the heat there. Put a little bit of olive oil in. Of course, swapping olive oil in for butter or some less healthy fats is always a good idea. I'm just going to coat the bottom of my skillet. First, I'm going to saute up some onions. So I'm going to be using about a half of a white and yellow onion. I'm just going to chop that. I'm going to use my favorite new little device, my onion chopper. So you just put it on the little grid and then press this down. Takes a little bit of muscle power. Add that in there. And in the meantime, I'm also preheating my oven to 400 degrees because we have to make our crispy tostadas because I can't find them in the store anywhere. So I just got these yellow corn tortillas and we'll make our own. I'm just gonna use a different skillet because this one just seems a little small for this. Let me take the yellow corn tortillas. This is what's going to be the crunch part of our Crunchwrap Supreme. Lay them out on a baking dish over here. And I'm going to brush those with olive oil. And I'm just going to give them a little sprinkle of salt. All right, it's time to add the ground turkey into the pan. And we're just going to break that up. And instead of having a lot of salt in our taco seasoning, this is a no salt seasoning. So I'm just going to salt the meat like I normally would when I'm cooking it. So I just use kosher salt. I'm just going to do a grind of fresh pepper. My oven's all preheated, so I'm going to go ahead and slide our corn tortillas in. Our spice mix is a tablespoon of chili powder, 2 teaspoons of onion powder, and 1 teaspoon each of cumin, garlic powder, and paprika. I'm just going to sprinkle that over the top of the ground turkey and then mix that in. I'm just going to turn that to low to keep it for warm while we turn our attention over here to the food processor. So in there we have 1 can of cannellini beans, and I'm going to drain off the liquid. And these are the low sodium beans. I'm just going to add those to my food processor. Add a nice hefty glug of olive oil, a little bit of salt, a hefty portion of nutritional yeast. I just kind of eyeball this. That'll give it that nice cheesy flavor. I'm going to add a squeeze of fresh lime to that and grind it up. Okay, our tortillas are ready. Just flip them over. Pop those back in for another 5 minutes. All right, let's give that a taste, see if it's any good. Okay. Be prepared, does not taste like cheese, but has that like little tanginess to it and creamy consistency that's really nice inside these. So, you know, bear with me if you've never made anything like without cheese. You could put a little cheese in here. If you're like, what, it's not Mexican food without cheese, then, you know, sprinkle in a little cheese. I just don't have any because I don't buy it, but I think this is delicious. I would eat it on its own. I'm just gonna wash my kale, chop my tomato, and then we'll be ready to assemble these. So I'm just going to coarsely chop the kale. You can use spinach here if you're not a fan of kale, or you can just use lettuce, whatever lettuce you prefer. But I like kale. I think it you know, it's giving you a little extra roughage, a little extra nutrition. All right, our crunchy tortillas are all set. Look how perfect they came out. For the tortillas, I'm using these Mission Carb Balanced tortillas. They are whole wheat, so that's why I like these. Normally a recipe would tell you to buy these big ones and also a package of the smaller ones. So that's how you get it to hold together. I just buy one package of big ones. I'm not gonna make 8 of them. And so I just cut up one of these big ones to be the topper for the Crunchwrap Supreme. So I'll show you that in a sec. But anyway, because these are quite large, they're easier to work with if you warm them up with a little bit of moisture. So I'm just gonna take some paper towels and wet them. And I'm gonna wring them out really well so they're just barely damp. So I've got a tortilla on a plate. I'm just gonna cover it with the paper towels and stick it in the microwave for about 30 seconds. I'm just gonna take an extra tortilla and I'm just gonna cut it into quarters. So now to assemble, we just lay that flat. We're gonna take some of our turkey meat. You don't wanna bring this too far to the edges. You wanna leave about 1.5 inches all the way around. If you take a look at the size of these, this is about the size that you want the meat layer to be. I like to put my cheese sauce on the meat layer, so I'm just gonna grab a spoonful of that and dribble it over the top. Just spread it around. Might have been easier to put it on the wrap itself. And then we're gonna put on the crunch layer, and then we put on our layer of lettuce and tomato. If you want, you can put in avocado or anything else that you like. I like to give that layer a little squeeze of lime and maybe a little hot sauce, really spice it up a little. Then we take our top layer, put that on. Actually, this doesn't really need the 3 corners, so I can just lop off the points. Have those as a snack. Just wet the edges, and then you just start folding it in. Fold it over. So you just need a skillet. I like the skillet method. The little devil, it unfolded while it was over there. I like to start it folded side down. So while that one's cooking, let's go ahead and make another one. Heating these in the microwave just makes them more pliable, so it's easier to fold them without the tortilla breaking. You know, I love my cheesy bean sauce. The other thing that you could use instead of the cheesy bean sauce is just refried beans. If you just want to make this easier, you could just open a can of refried beans, and that would be good. I would get the low sodium. And then fold it on up. Okay, let's check on this guy. Ooh, doesn't that look nice? All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and cook one in the air fryer, one in the pan for you guys. I love these little air fryer baskets. They are recyclable. So I cook in this, then I don't have to wash the basket, and I just throw this in my recycle bin. So I'm using my phone to weight this one. So then I'm just gonna brush the outside of this one with a little olive oil to help it get a little crispier in the air fryer. I'm gonna put it folded side down, and then put a little olive oil on the outside. All right, this one is done. Look at that, so pretty. Yummy. You can serve this with salsa, avocado. You can just layer more of the cheese sauce over the top. If you like sour cream, I like to put yogurt on the top. That's an easy swap you can make. Instead of sour cream, use yogurt instead. But this just looks so delicious, you guys. I cannot wait to bite into this. I wonder how the air fryer one is coming along. That looks good. Let's turn it over. Ooh, ouch, hot. Let this side get done. About like 5 minutes, should do it. Okay, so this one, the outer wrapper gets crunchy all the way around. Ooh, that's nice. Creates a different texture in the air fryer than on the stove top. So take a look at that guy. So that's our little healthy eating recipe for today. All right, you guys, so that is everything that I wanted to talk about in today's video. I hope you found it helpful and informative. If you did, go ahead and give the video a like. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell. As always, I thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate your watching. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you in the next video. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.